On this episode of YaEat, we will be making pan-seared hanger steak and serving it over Escarole and Cannellini beans. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this delicious and simple recipe. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 22 of YaEat. As usual, I'm really excited to have you here and thank you for joining us. Last week we made the Italian wedding soup and I had some leftover escarole, and I had a hanger steak and I had some cannellini beans, and so I decided to make a hanger steak over escarole and beans, and I posted that picture on Facebook, and I had so many requests for the recipe that I decided to make that recipe today and share that with you. Today we'll be making a pan-seared hanger steak, and then we're going to place that over escarole and beans. It's a really simple and delicious recipe, so I'm ready to make this recipe. Are you ready? Here we go. Print this and all our recipes on YaEat.tv. And now, a YaEat educational moment. Today we are featuring hanger steak. What a beautiful cut of beef. A hanger steak, also known as butcher steak or hanging tenderloin, is a cut of beef steak prized for its flavor. This cut is taken from the plate, which is the upper belly of the animal. In the past, it was also known as butcher's steak because butchers would often keep it for themselves rather than offer it for sale. This is because the general public believed it to be a crude cut of meat, although it's actually one of the most tender. This has been a YaEat educational moment. Okay, let's get started. We're going to marinate the steak first. We'll add some extra virgin olive oil. Next, we will add 1/2 of fresh lime juice, 1 ounce of soy sauce. We'll add 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1 teaspoon of salt. I know there's soy sauce in here already, so if you like, you can omit the salt. We'll top it with some fresh ground pepper, cover, and give it a good shake. Now you could put this in the refrigerator for an hour or two, but I'm going to let it sit out on the counter at room temperature. It'll marinate while I do the rest of my prep work. For this recipe, we're going to be using 2 head of escarole. The same way that we prepped up the escarole for the Italian wedding soup, we're going to cut the escarole in half and then we'll quarter it. And we'll cut into pieces about 2 inches wide down to the core, and then we will discard the core. Thoroughly wash and drain escarole. Click on that subscribe button. We're going to blanch the escarole. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt or water, and we're going to cook it for about 2 minutes. This is going to cook about 50%, and it will also remove any of the bitterness from the escarole. It should still be very bright green when you remove it. Okay, we're going to drain the escarole, and we want to cool it down immediately. I like to submerge the escarole in the pan with the water. This cools it a lot quicker. Next, we're going to make like a snowball and squeeze the water out. And we'll place it on the side for when we're ready to saute it. I peeled about 4 cloves of garlic, and then I cut the bigger ones in half, and then I sliced thin slices. And we'll place that on the side for when we're ready to saute the escarole. Let's coat the pan and heat up some extra virgin olive oil and cook our steak. Now these hanger steak are kind of thin, so I could probably just cook them in the pan and serve, but we'll see. We'll tempt them, and we may have to put them in the oven depending on your temperature that you like them. So let's brown them nicely on both sides. You're probably only going to need to cook these about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, or until they're nicely brown. I like to rub the steak into the pan trimmings. It gives it a nice color and flavor. Okay, we can pull these out now, and we'll tempt them and see where they're at. Okay, it's temping around 130. I personally like it cooked a little bit more, so in a second I'm going to put that in the oven. First, we're just going to rinse the beans and get them ready. I preheated the oven at 350 degrees, and we're going to put it in here for about 5 or 10 minutes while we make the escarole and beans. Okay, let's coat the pan with extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to brown the garlic that we sliced up. And when that's nice and brown, we're going to add the escarole to the pan that we blanched, and we will saute that and blend in with the garlic. You may need to add some more extra virgin olive oil as you go. Okay, we're almost done. We're going to season with salt and pepper. I only added a half a cup of chicken stock, but decided it needed another half a cup. We can add the beans, and we'll fold them in gingerly. We don't want the beans to all break. Maybe need a little more extra virgin olive oil. And we'll take the hanger steak out of the oven, and we'll place it on a plate immediately to stop it from cooking. It will continue to cook. Let's let it rest for about 5 to 10 minutes. Let's put the final touch on our escarole and beans. We're going to add about a teaspoon of Pecorino Romano cheese. This steak is so tender you don't really need to, but try to cut it against the grain. You have to try this recipe. The steak alone smells so delicious. This recipe is also good for steak fajitas or steak tacos. The only thing that's left is to plate the escarole and beans and then nicely add the steak on top. And we're done. Hanger steak over escarole and beans. You eat? You want to eat? Make this recipe. It's delicious. Time for the taste test. Now I did eat this on Saturday, but I'll eat it again because it was so delicious. The combination of the two, with the lime juice and the soy, this is really, really delicious. And cut this with my fork. It's like a cross between a strip steak and a filet mignon. Now that wasn't too difficult, was it? Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And we will see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe or follow our Facebook and YouTube pages.
Don Bassini, I want to thank you for helping me organize this meeting here today.
I'm so hungry.
The other heads of the
I can't wait to
families,
eat.
New York, New Jersey.
Quanto andiamo a mangiare?
From the Bronx and Brooklyn.
I gotta look nice before I eat.
From Staten Island. We have with
My
us,
stomach.
Victor
I gotta
Starkey.
put some food in my
All
mouth
the
instead
other
of the cigar.
associates that came as far as from California,
That's all
Kansas
good,
City,
but when are we gonna eat?
and all the other
I can't wait.
territories that
Did
we
anybody
covered.
see me?
Thank you.
Mangiamo.